Greetings. Thank you for taking a few minutes out of your busy day to spend together. With this time, I want to be able to provide you with some new ideas and encouragement so you can have a fantastic third act. Let's go ahead and jump into today's topic, which is the 7 things I've learned in 7 months after being downsized. Quick backstory, I was doing the same job for about 20 years. The last 3 years, we had been purchased by a different company. My department was no longer relevant. And finally, after that third year, as part of a change in equity partners back in the company, they went ahead and downsized me, laid me off, let me go. So that's where I am today. So I've been at this since the end of March, just trying to navigate and figure out what next steps are in my life after being downsized and if I'm unemployed or retired. It's kind of a fine line. I'm 58 years old now, so I'm still about a year and a half away from 401k. What am I doing? What have I learned? How did I get there? Let's go ahead and dive into it. So what I've learned is your routine still matters more than ever. It is so easy to fall into the I'm doing nothing, which leads to negative thoughts and depression, and I'm never gonna find a job or I'm not worth it. All those things that contribute to mental health issues of retirees. So fortunately, in my life and my family, I am fixed into a routine because my wife is still working. She's providing the majority of the income during this gap, and we're drawing from savings for a little bit more. She has a great job and seems to love it and is kind of peaking out in it, so she's not ready to leave. My oldest child is living with us, and he's a full-grown adult saving for a place to live and kind of reinventing himself. The next child is in college, so he'll be getting out soon and he'll be back here for a while as he figures out where he's going to work and where he's going to live. And then our youngest is going into high school soon, so he still has a number of years of public school left. So again, he's on a routine. And to further lock me into the routine, as if all that wasn't enough, we have dogs. And those of you who are dog owners, and we recently went through daylight savings time, you know, the dogs keep you on a routine, whether you want to be on a routine or not. So it's important to keep that routine and make sure you're getting up on time, because what happens is time just kind of starts sliding. If I was living alone, yeah, I might end up like not getting up till 10 or 11, and then my day would be messed up because I wouldn't be able to fall asleep at night. So staying on that consistent routine helps a lot. Now, it is nice to have the option to go take a nap in the afternoon, but getting up on time is an important part of the routine. And one of the things you'll find after being laid off, and especially once getting into retirement, if you're both retired and empty nesters, is if you're not intentional about it, that routine can disappear really fast. The next thing I've learned, number 2, is I miss the intellectual stimulation I got from work. While I wasn't always happy after the purchase of the company by the new company, I do miss being part of something bigger, and that's part of my drive to do YouTube here. And I miss being paid to solve other people's problems, because part of my job in the business world, I wrote software and I sold software. So it was to help match the clients with the software to solve their problems. And just again, being a problem solver, that fits right in. It's intellectually stimulating. It gets my mind going. It gets me thinking of new and creative ways to do things. And just sitting home now, that's something that if you're not paying attention to it, part of your identity, part of your drive, part of your psyche, it just sort of evaporates. And again, it can contribute to a downward spiral. So I am looking for things like this that will provide new neural pathways in my brain to help me keep stimulated, keep my mind young, keep going. Because again, in retirement, you have your financial health, your mental health, and your physical health. You got to keep all three of those peaked, right? You got to pay attention to all of them and tend to all of them equally. Because if any one of those fails, you're going to have a miserable third act. The next thing, number 3, is that my money mindset changed overnight. We were at a point where we had already downsized to being able to live on a single paycheck in preparation for retirement because our retirement income was going to be roughly equal to one paycheck. So we had been down that path and made some major decisions to get there. And actually getting there is different. All right. So now that we're there and in this gap between being 58 and 59 and a half, my wife's income is covering a majority of our expenses. We have savings built up that we were prepping for this, but we're now not having the amount of discretionary income that we were used to because we had a whole other second check that we were using for retirement savings and college savings, vacations, and just frivolous purchases. You see something on Amazon, that looks cool, let's get that. Or we may need that someday, let's go ahead and buy that. So instead of the Amazon truck coming by the house every other day, now it's coming by maybe every other week, if that. And usually it's for things that aren't for me. They're necessities. They're groceries that are a bit cheaper. Perfect example, our youngest son likes Cliff Bars for breakfast. It's cheaper off Amazon than at the store. So we'll go ahead and do that. And we're currently Prime members, but we may evaluate that in the future as our membership comes up and as we continue to whittle away to get to a nice retirement income where there's a lot of margin between our bills and what we can take out without depleting our savings. So we can have that money to have fun with and not be stressed out. But you also look at what am I paying people to do, right? You might have a house cleaner, you might have a lawn service, you might have someone that comes in and trims your bushes and does your, light landscaping. Well, now I'm doing all that, not just for cost, but I'm looking at it going, I can either sit in here on my butt or I can get outside and do something. I can be out in the spring or fall when the weather's nice. That's when most of it gets done here in the Chicago area, and enjoy the weather becoming nice or cooling down in the fall. Perfect example, funny story. A few weeks ago, my lawn was covered in maple tree leaves. We don't have a maple tree in our yard. Our neighbor does. So I pull out the lawnmower, I set it on the low setting because the grass had stopped growing, and basically used it as a vacuum to vacuum that up. And that was on a Wednesday. Wednesday night, we take out garbage. So I put the leaf bags out by the curb. Thursday was a very windy day. By Friday, my lawn was full of leaves again. So the next Wednesday, lather, rinse, repeat. I did the same thing. And I did it the following Wednesday. And I think now he's out of leaves. So I think we're okay. But having the time and wanting to be active, it just made sense for me to go do that instead of having my kids do it or paying someone to do it. I've got all day. Again, the financial, physical, and mental health all need to be tended to. Speaking of health, your physical health can go one of two directions when you stop working. In my case, I've been focusing on improving my physical health. And part of that is because the stress is gone, right? The stress of Monday mornings, the stress of things breaking, clients needing stuff at the last minute, wanting to go on vacation and getting that phone call at 4 PM the day before that someone has some kind of emergency and you're the only person with the skill set to be. So that really changes when you become unemployed and or retire. So I have been focusing on what I can do to make me more healthy. And one of those things, I'd always been kind of doing it, but I've been more purposeful about it now, which is getting out for walks. Walking is great exercise. It's low impact. You get out in the nice weather. Even when it's cold, if you have the right coat, you can go out there. Again, there's no bad weather, only bad clothes, as they say in Scandinavia. A few years ago, I finally invested, right in my 50s, I finally invested in a good winter coat. I can stand out there for 40 minutes doing nothing and stay warm. And the reason I needed this coat is we had gotten a puppy and it needed to be potty trained, and we got it in the winter. So after the first couple days in my normal winter attire for Chicago, where you're just in denial, I'm like, I need a real winter coat. And this thing it's like wearing your house outside, both from weight and from warmth. So anyways, so getting out walking, big deal. Do it. It's easy. I've been working on changing how I eat. I joined a wellness program through my wife's health plan, which is another reason she's working, that focuses on your holistic health, how you're eating, how your blood sugar is, how your weight is, how your blood pressure is. And they give you the tools, and it's subsidized by the insurance company because it prevents major illnesses and long-term medications later on. So, quick note, check your company if you're still working and see if they offer anything like that. But it's nice because it's taught me to look at food and labels differently. Part of it in eating healthier is education. If you're just saying, I'm going to eat healthier, and you don't know what that means, it's easy to start going down the slippery slope of I'll have some pie here, chocolate chip cookies here, that type of stuff, maybe a soda instead of a stevia soda or diet soda, those kinds of things. So having the education, knowing how to read labels, knowing what you're looking for makes a huge difference. So in this time, I'm down 20 pounds. I'm not starving myself to do it. I'm on just a slow cadence of several pounds per month. And I have also lowered my A1C. Now, I wasn't diabetic, but I was getting up there. But I lowered it by 0.5 already, which is a big deal. And hopefully, when I get my next blood work in a few months, it'll be even lower. So it's one of those things as you get older, especially if you have sedentary jobs, that you start kind of eating your way through the day. And now you got to kind of claw that back. And it's nice because I have other things to occupy my time, as I was just mentioning, where I'm not thinking about food. Plus, I'm eating more protein, more fiber. And now my body's not thinking about food like it was when I was eating sugar. Sugar, I never believed it to this extent till now, is really addictive. You eat a little bit and you got to, no one eats one chocolate chip cookie. That's how you know. That's the giveaway. If you ever see someone eat one chocolate chip cookie, they're probably an alien in disguise. So being able to focus on my health, get weight down, eat better has been a big plus, and I feel better about myself. I look a little better. I'm feeling better about getting older and aging because, again, it's a fight when you get to this age to maintain your health. So next thing I learned, we're up to number 5 already. So we're, almost there on the big 7, and the 7th one is an important one. Staying busy becomes a skill. You need to look at things and not go, I'm not going to do that, or I'm going to put that off, or we'll have someone else do it, or I'll ask the kids to do it. The goal is to stay busy. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. An object at rest, right, tends to stay at rest. So the less you stay busy and you think of this as resort time, and you're not going to do anything all day, every day, because I worked for, 35, 40, 45 years, and now I deserve to do nothing. Well, that's going to catch up with you big time. Your physical health is going to suffer. Your mental health may suffer. So figuring out what you're going to do to stay busy, whether it's tasks and chores around the house or learning new things, all helps. YouTube is a great example. Starting this, even if I don't get any subscribers, by the way, I appreciate any subscribers I get. So thank you for those who have commented and subscribed. But the exercise here is to document the process, to continue public speaking like I was when I was working, and to learn new technical skills. I had not spent a lot of time recording video of myself, editing video of myself, figuring out thumbnails, figuring out YouTube algorithms. There's always new things to learn. Now, what I am learning about the YouTube algorithm is half the people say it doesn't matter, and half of them say you have to do these 52 things. So I'm still trying to figure out that. But it keeps my mind going. It keeps me engaged. I'm not sitting watching TV all day. I'm not sleeping all day. I have felt less prone to afternoon naps since I started doing these kind of activities. So it works out great. Some other things I'm doing is we have been part of a theater membership for a couple of years now. A lot of major cities have some kind of theater membership. One of the big ones is Broadway in whatever your city is. For us, it's Chicago. So we do maybe nearly a show every month, sometimes more. We got an outing coming up where we're doing 2 shows, one that's part of the subscription and one that we bought outside the subscription. The subscription's kind of cool because you get 6 shows and you're really only paying for two, maybe three of them. And it's a mix of things, so it's serendipitous what you get exposed to. And some of the plays end up being really good, and some of them you're kind of scratching your head and you're glad it was part of the subscription. But I always try and find something I like about them. Even the one I didn't relate to at all, they had a cool way they did the sets on stage to represent the apartment and office and restaurants and things like that. So looking at it from a positive viewpoint, and then of course, because we're downtown, there's great restaurants, Chicago, downtown, North Side, all very safe, lots of great things going on. So getting down there and doing this theater subscription and continuing to do that is a big deal, and it keeps us out. I'm looking at getting back into piano lessons. I had started it one time, went several months, but got distracted by life. So now that I have time, and things like instruments are supposed to improve or build new neural pathways, whatever that means. So I want to continue to do that. I build Legos, as you can see kind of behind me. I build the modular houses, but right now I'm looking at that new Star Trek Enterprise D from the Next Generation that Lego is releasing later this month. That looks to be a fun build. And these things, you can kind of drag them on for nights and nights because they're several thousand pieces. It's like puzzle building. Some people like to build puzzles in their retirement to keep their dexterity and their mind going. Legos are kind of like a 3D puzzle. So you'll discover which activities energize you, even if they're something you never would have considered spending the time on while you were working. You want to find things and be authentic to yourself. If you were interested in Legos as a kid, and now you have the time and money that you're unemployed or retired, this is a great avenue. If you wanted to learn an instrument, now's a good time. If you're doing drums, you may want to get electronic drums for your family and neighbors' sake, but you could do drums. So there's all kinds of things out there. You just have to look for them. And some of them, you just have to buy kind of like an instrument, the basic thing. And then there's all kinds of information on the internet about learning. So if you're tight on funds, there's still ways to do that. Maybe I had a friend who took up poetry writing in retirement, and he's gotten really good at that and enjoys that. And again, it keeps the mind going. So number 6, a good financial plan removes panic, but not all the stress. It is tough going from a saving mode to a spending mode. We have spent decades watching savings and retirement funds increase. And now to get to the mode where we're kind of drawing from savings for extra income for a little bit of a gap we have between my wife's income and our true actual expenses. And some of that's intentional on our side that we left it there because they were zero or very low interest rate bills. So we figured we just kind of ride it out and hold on to the more money, which is in high yield savings. But it's changing that and allowing yourself to spend the money, because normally I put money in kind of long-term savings and I don't want it to come out. And why was I putting it in there? For retirement. So now that we're in pseudo retirement, it's okay to take it out. But mentally making that shift, I feel guilty about it. I don't know when that's going to change, and I'm working through it. And my spreadsheets say we're okay. The web tools say we're okay. My financial guy says we're okay, which is a great situation to be in. But my brain, the emotional part, hasn't said that we're okay, even though we are. In preparation, because after the company got bought a few years previously, I kind of knew this layoff was coming. So we built up cash reserves because our 401k plans don't offer Rule of 55. It's not one that all of them have to offer. Ours didn't, especially mine didn't, because it was a very low cost plan administrator that we were working with. I mean, the website barely showed anything on it. It was hard to get past what your balance was. So it was good that we moved out of there into an IRA just to kind of figure out how we're going to manage this thing going forward. So yeah, no Rule of 55. But since we built up the savings on top of our 401k contributions, we can let our 401ks continue to grow. All right, so that gives us more time, at least to 59 and a half, maybe even further. We'll see if I find any part-time employment or full-time employment to kind of fill the gap. But I'm totally resigned to the fact that I'm probably retired now, right? It's no longer my choice. It's determined by economic and job growth factors. However, we're in a position for it. All that being said, it's still hard to change the mentality. And I think it'll be even more difficult once my wife stops working and we're both working on the 401, or drawing off the 401ks. So that'll be interesting when we come there. So don't underestimate that shift. So that was kind of number 6, is moving that. Now, number 7, which is probably more emotional, more subjective, but still highly relevant, is the transition from working to retirement kind of takes a little bit. And then suddenly one day you don't remember working anymore. This is just your routine now. So it happens slowly, but then it's locked in. It's one of those strange things. It's like when you come back from vacation and you don't remember being on vacation after you're back at work a few days. It's one of those kind of seismic shifts but this one's in a better way because now you're going toward retirement. So all of a sudden work was something you did way back and it doesn't take hold right away, but it does eventually take hold. So you get a preview of your retirement rhythm. Right now, again, I'm in this pseudo retirement where I may be retired. I don't know. I'm accepting the fact that I'm retired and moving on while I continue to send resumes out, just in case something lights up. That's a good opportunity. However, in this new phase of life, you realize you want to make the most of it. In this third act that we're in, you want to have your 3 health factors addressed: financial health, physical health, mental health, to be able to move forward. That's going to be critical. You want to get into that. You want to address what's going on in your head on, for lack of a better term, and start shifting into that retirement mindset. For those of you on the younger end of the GenX spectrum, yeah, you're going to get here and it's going to be here before you know it. You know how fast time has started to go around. Retirement will be here soon, so plan for it. I have another video on budgeting. I have one coming out on making the hard decisions for retirement. So be sure to look at those ones too. You will feel less pressure and stress from all the deadlines of work. It's a time to let your creativity come out. It's a time to just jump into things, to be your authentic self and be your retirement self. So you begin to mentally shift from what should I do next, right? As you're just clawing day by day in your work life and home life, to what do I want this third act to look like and how are we going to get there? And some of us have been planning this. Some of us are young enough where you can start planning this now. And some of us are kind of in between. But the good news is, as long as you have your health, there's time to move in the direction you want to move. So those are my 7 biggest lessons from the past 7 months since I was downsized. If you have any additional lessons, if you're downsized or unemployed or just planning for it, please feel free to leave that information in the comments. I'm kind of curious to hear about you and hear what's going on and what your issues were. And if necessary, it may bring us to a new video that'll be on these other factors that I didn't even consider for this, or I'm just not far enough along in my retirement for it to be an issue. So the goal would be to navigate this kind of late life third act crisis of suddenly being unemployed. And hopefully I've shed some light on the things I've learned that'll help you settle into that phase of life, again, planning for it or suddenly being thrust into it, and know that these things are normal. So I wish you the best as you build and dream and plan, or if you're in your third act. Thank you again. I appreciate your time.